you're at the end of decision fatigue, you're worn out. But even when you're worn out, you got to make the right decisions. If you're not pausing and evaluating how you feel about each decision, then I think you're in decision fatigue.
Prioritize big decisions in the morning when you have energy and your energy is highest, and leave low stake choices and emails after or a little bit later is a good way to do that. And one thing about when you do make that big decision first thing in the day, you do eat the frog, you have more confidence. You know what I mean? You took the big obstacle out of the way, and now it's like already it's in motion, however it's moving. And you're like, oh, okay, what's next?
And as a servant leader, one of the things your people are looking to you for is to make a decision, right? They'll come in with 5 options and like, hey, boss, hey, let's look at these and decide on the path forward. And if you can't do that, you can't lead. If you're too tired to make a decision, it's not because, hey, all these options are great and you can't decide. It's literally because you are too tired to make a decision.
Raw, uncut, and unapologetic. Welcome to Men Talking Mindfulness. If you're feeling fried from endless choices, bouncing between indecision and impulse buys, snapping at loved ones, forgetting why you entered into the kitchen, or rubber stamping work on autopilot just to get through the day, welcome to a real condition called decision fatigue. The silent brain drain that makes high-achieving men tired, cranky, and stuck on autopilot. So if you're worn out, foggy, and ready for something smarter, stick around to reclaim your clarity and your sanity. Jon, we're back. Decision fatigue, I thought it'd be a great topic that to throw out there, because like this is something that's very real. You know, just before we hit record, you're talking about like, oh, I got stories of decision fatigue. So here we are, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Good to be here, and I will tell you, a high-achieving man and woman, for sure. I mean, I know we've got 25% women that are listening to our show, so we want to make sure we let them know that decision fatigue is not gender specific, but MTM, mentalkingmindfulness.com. Check it out. That's where we have everything that we've got going on. We got the Spartan race coming up. By the time this airs, it's only going to be 3 weeks out,
3
something
weeks
like that.
Yeah, we got to book our tickets.
So exactly, we got to book our tickets to get down there.
Flights,
but hey, if you want to join us October 19th, just around the Dallas area, for a 3.1 mile 5K run with 21 obstacles. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's about it for now. Let's get into that one breath grounding practice. Let's go ahead and get into a nice position, comfortable but focused. And Will's already a step ahead of us, letting that air out. Go ahead and exhale, holding empty at the bottom, bringing that navel to your spine, and then a nice, long, slow, deep breath in, filling all the way up. Take another sip at the top and hold, and let that go. Let it go, let it go, let it go, and all right. Yeah, let's get into this topic on decision fatigue. I mean, I know back when we were younger, Will, and for some of our audience, you guys will relate. The TVs, they had like 12 channels on them, right?
Yeah.
And you physically had to get up off the couch to turn this dial that literally clicked between channels. And I remember, watching shows that today wouldn't have even like registered on my radar, right? Like I remember watching Dallas with my family, like Who Killed JR, and I remember watching some of the other shows that are out there that wouldn't have registered today. But today we quite often get, decision fatigue, analysis paralysis. We're like cruising through the different channels and figuring out what to watch. There's so many different a la carte channels. We've got Netflix, we've got Prime, we've got Peacock, we've got all of the different channels. And like, man, how do I even know what's on? So we get into just watching TV ends up being this massive decision. And by the time you finally land on what it is that you want to watch, you pass out because you don't have enough energy. and that's what we're here to talk about today. And one more anecdote that I'll share is when we were deployed to Afghanistan in 2013, rolling into 2014. We wore uniforms. I mean, they were modified special operations type uniforms. But on Sundays, our commander had said, hey, Sundays are civilian clothes days. We'd wear our civilian clothes on this little compound. We had a big base around us, but on the compound, if you stayed on the compound, you could wear civilian clothes. And it got to the end of the deployment, and a lot of people had already left. I was staying back with some of the key players. I was the operations officer at the time, and it was like a Tuesday. And I think we were leaving like 2 days later. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wear civvies today, civilian clothes. And I wore them in, and nobody said anything. And then my boss came. He was a commander. At this time, I was a lieutenant commander, so I was, a rank below him. This guy's an admiral now. But I'm walking down the hall, and this is in like this big wooden structure. It's not like a nice hall or anything. It's a wooden building. And he stops me. He's like, do you have your uniform? And I said, yes, sir. He's like, put it on. And that's all he said. And I could see the disappointment in his eyes, like, Jon, you fucked this up. He didn't say that, but I could see it. And I went and got my uniform on, and I walked back to him. I was like, hey, boss, sorry about that. He's like, it's okay. I get it. We're at the end of deployment. You're at the end of decision fatigue. You're worn out. But even when you're worn out, you got to make the right decisions. And that's something that stuck with me for a long time. And I know we're going to talk about what decision fatigue is, define it, and get it into it. But I just want to share a couple of stories of decision fatigue. And I know you've experienced that channel one, the TV. I'm sure many of our listeners can relate.
Yeah, I remember if you didn't have cable, you only had 4 channels.
Yeah.
Right. ABC, NBC, CBS, and whatever.
And then like the local channel that just told you what was happening. It was like we had channel 4. Like if you had a cable box, it had to be on channel 4 for it to work.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, people with cable boxes, they're rich.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
What a weird world.
People with HBO. Remember, like my neighbor.
HBO, man. Oh my gosh.
I was like, wow, what a luxury. Right. Well, we're not in that world anymore. With this infiltration of technology, like you said, so many different channels, like, so many different, really, honestly, so many different distractions. That really keep us off of like our path or where we want to go or what we want to be doing, and just kind of keep us in. This cycle of manipulation of like more, dopamine. Well, and it's like, and this decision fatigue, simply defined as a psychological phenomenon where repeated decision-making depletes cognitive resources, causing a deterioration in the quality, accuracy, and persistence of subsequent decisions. So loaded statement. And how does it manifest? It shows up as impaired judgment, constant procrastination, increased impulsivity, avoidance, passivity, and a tendency to default to easier options rather than weighing choices thoughtfully. And you can also get emotionally kind of snappy and short with people. I mentioned impulse buying, skipping healthy routines. And this is all because your brain is just overcome with making too many decisions, having to discern between so many different things at all times. And this puts us into this fog, like a fog of distress, right? Which is showing up as decision fatigue.
Look at some of the CEOs of the incredible like Fortune 10 companies like Apple, Meta. When Steve Jobs would step out on stage, what was he wearing? He's wearing a black like t-shirt or polo, or black, not polo, but turtleneck, jeans, belt and shoes, right? He probably had 10 of those same outfits in the closet because that was not something he was going to waste his energy on. He didn't want to make a decision.
That's true.
Having to say, hey, what am I going to wear today?
Mm-hmm.
And we've all felt it, right? We've all been there. Hell, when I was in the military, I knew what I was wearing every day. I was wearing a uniform, except that one day that I wore civilian clothes that I just told you about. But I was wearing a uniform. I'd just go grab that uniform, put it on, boom, didn't have to think about it. I was like, man, I can't wait until I'm a civilian and I don't have to wear a uniform anymore. Well, now I go to my closet. I'm like, what am I going to wear? And that's the first decision that I make. Well, one of the first decisions. I also decide I'm going to brush my teeth and decide I'm going to take a shower and get cleaned up. But the next one that actually requires deciding amongst a whole bunch of choices is going in my closet and be like, okay, what shirt am I going to wear? What
Mm,
pants? What hat am I going to wear?
mm,
And I know that sounds ridiculous, but that right there. It takes just a little bit of energy.
mhm,
And then later in the day, where am I going to sacrifice that energy? Is it going to be, an emotional snap with my kids, like you mentioned?
right, right,
Is
mm,
it going to be me not being able to decide which lane of the highway I'm in when somebody's speeding up behind me and possibly going
mm,
to wreck into me? I
mm,
mean, and
it's
what
true.
toll does that take on me in the long run? And not just on me, but what toll does it have on my family, my
Mm,
friends, my colleagues? So yeah, man, decision fatigue. It's real. It sounds trivial, but
yeah,
where are we making trivial decisions that we can totally cut out of our lives, like Steve Jobs,
yeah, yeah.
like what's the founder of Meta, Facebook? I'm
Zuckerberg.
forgetting. Yeah,
Mhm,
Zuckerberg. Thanks.
mhm,
Yeah, Zuckerberg. What does he wear? He wears a hoodie and jeans, like everywhere he goes. He's rarely in anything else because that's a decision they don't want to waste energy on.
yeah.
Well, I'm curious, Will. What are some decisions that you waste energy on, or maybe not waste energy on, but take energy that could be directed elsewhere?
Well, definitely, clothes, right? I'm like, I definitely should have more of a standard uniform. I'm starting to have like more of a standard uniform for the podcast, just wearing black, black t-shirt or something like that. So that's definitely one thing that kind of gets in the way. But one thing I've learned, that has helped me, to eliminate decision fatigue is just already like, the day before, like already mapping out what I'm going to do the next day. So like, because when I don't, like, it's really funny the amount of anxiety that I have when I don't have a very clear day mapped out because I have so many things that I want to do. My mind is racing with like, oh, we got to do this for the podcast. We need to do this, for the sales thing I'm working on. We need to do, this thing, that thing. And it's just like, where do I start? Where do I start? Where do I go? And by making those decisions the night before, having those decisions tied to a greater purpose, which I think is really important, which create, we're going to talk about part of this whole thing about decision fatigue is setting boundaries. So if I have clear rails in which things I'm trying to aspire to, right, and those aspirations require a certain amount of time, then I only have so much time in a day. So I'm only moving in those directions. So goals is a big part of this. Like, getting to the gym a few days a week. So it's just like if I'm committed to going 4 days a week, then how am I going to find like 90 minutes to get my ass to the gym? So it's like a lot of these decisions are kind of made for me because of the goals that I'm going after, the things that I want to do, the person I want to continually become. So and like so, but like yeah, I think like for me, decision fatigue, like definitely I should just get more standard with the clothes that I'm wearing. And I kind of wear the same clothes anyway. It's just like what's a different color sometimes. Um, but just for me, it's like, what work am I going to get done and how do I prioritize that work based on my goals? And that's one thing that definitely creates decision fatigue in my mind. And yeah, go ahead, John.
And when you don't, or when you
Hmm.
have this whole list of 15, 20, 30, 40 things that you want to get done,
Yeah,
sometimes you look at that list, you're like, I can't even decide where to start or which one to do first.
yeah,
So what happens is you don't do
mm,
any of them. And that comes back to that constant procrastination that we talked about
exactly.
before.
Right,
That
right.
decision fatigue can actually overwhelm you to where they're like, you know what? I can't make a decision. I can't make a decision. I'm just going to I'll make one when I have more energy. Maybe I'll make one after sleeping on this. And that's another thing is making decisions, whether it's something as trivial as what to wear or it's something as important as, what to like a law that we're passing, right? Our politicians are passing laws, or our doctors are deciding, what cuts to make when they're doing surgery. Um, if you have to make decisions, if there's no choice but to make a decision, but you're not eating well, you're not sleeping well, what does that do to your ability to make a decision that could be potentially life changing, life altering, or maybe even life ending, right? If you don't sleep well, you're not eating right, it can increase the odds of making bad decisions, bad calls, maybe even eating more unhealthy crap, and making your decision fatigue even worse. So yeah, I know that's definitely something I've seen in my life.
Well, how do you compounding on, what happens when you compound on and stack on bad decisions? Like,
Mm-hmm.
where are you leading yourself? You know what I mean? Like where, and it's like, and how are you affecting, I think a part of this is like, if we don't, it's really intentional. If we're not intentional with our time, with our energy, with our mind, right, then we're just going to be, we're going to take this energy that we have and we can focus energy and attention. Or if we don't, right, where does our energy go? It can go every other place. Like we're trying to make a decision. You talk about procrastination. But when we have like, again, clear goals, clear mission, clear things that we want to bring in our life, clear health goals, right? Then I definitely, have an easier time making decisions for sure. But I hate when I'm like, when I'm just kind of, when I'm flailing, think of that word. Like that's like decision fatigue. I'm just kind of flailing. I don't, like, is it this? Is it that? What do I do? But when you do make a decision, you're moving in some sort of direction. So it's really important to keep your head on, keep your mind in a good fit capacity, keep your body in a good fit capacity, so you can like keep showing up because you know, decisions, depending on what kind of work you're doing, could be really, really high stakes. And especially when you have like your family that's resting on those decisions and following with those decisions, or your company, right, is really worth your time in order to, get on track. And if you're not on track with about being intentional or setting goals or having some sort of mission, then you need to find that, because you're always going to live in this malaise and this fatigue, because it's like, what's the first step? And if you don't have a clear goal, a clear mission, then you're always going to be kind of, when you do take those steps, you're going to kind of be wavering a little bit. Oh, is this the right thing? Blah, blah. And more decision fatigue kind of comes into play.
And, a lot of why we do our shows is all about mindfulness, yes, but a lot of the shows are about leadership, right? We just had Howard Bihar
Yeah,
from
true.
Starbucks,
Yeah.
fantastic episode all about leadership and servant leadership. And as a servant leader, one of the things your people are looking to you for is to make a decision, right?
Yeah.
They'll come in with 5 options and they're like, hey, boss, hey, let's look at these and decide on the path forward. And if you can't do that, you can't lead. If you're too tired to make a decision, it's not because, hey, all these options are great and you can't decide. It's literally because you are too tired to make a decision. And what does that lead to? It leads to lack of trust and confidence in your ability to lead and decide. So it's a key to be aware of when you are, in fact, in decision fatigue, right? Nobody's immune, right? We've got the high-level executives who aren't sleeping and they've had to make 1,000 decisions by noon. They're going to get worn out. And those symptoms, they creep into your life, they creep into work, they creep into the relationships. And at what point do you become aware? So I think you got to be mindful, right? That's, again, what the show is about, practicing some sense of mindfulness, some form of mindfulness. And we're not necessarily talking about meditation, but maybe take a step back, take a pause and be like, okay, how am I feeling? Am I making bad decisions? Am I ordering crap food for my family for dinner regularly? Am I snapping at my
It's gonna
family?
fuck with you.
Yeah. Then when you're acting like that, it might not be only because you haven't slept well. It might not only be because you're under a lot of stress. It might be because you're just tired of making decisions. And then, so one, you got to notice it. You got to be aware of it.
Yeah.
But
right.
then what do you do about it? Right.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about both of those things. Like, how do you become aware? Like, what would you say? What are ways you can become aware of your decision fatigue? Like, what? I have some of my own, but
yeah. Well, I'm definitely so. Clearly, I'm wearing the same shirt I wore in the last episode.
I know, and the same fucking hat.
We just recorded it. We literally just recorded it, and I was like, I had an option. I'm like, hey, should I go change shirts? And my decision was no, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But I thought about it, and I was like, okay, that's my decision. but I can also tell you when I go into the closet in the morning and I decide what I'm going to wear, not a big deal, but I can feel that being one more decision. And then when I go downstairs and I'm like, okay, well, what clothes am I going to pick out for my kids, right? I've got young kids and they're not picking out their clothes yet. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to pick out this shirt and these pants, this skirt for my little girl and these shoes and da-da-da. And then, man, it piles up real quick. If you're not pausing.
There you go.
And evaluating how you feel about each decision, then I think you're in decision fatigue. If that's for me, that's at least my 2 cents. That's how I notice. If I start to feel anxious about the most trivial decisions, then I'm tired as far as decisions.
Yeah.
And then I need to take, a 10-minute pause. Maybe I need to go get some type of food in my system, a good drink, maybe a coffee, something that
go
how
for
it'd
a
be hard
walk.
to be. Yeah, exactly. Go for a walk, right?
Exactly. Get in your body, change the
I was
state.
just listening to Andrew Huberman episode all about how just getting up and walking can change your energy level,
completely.
and your ability to make those decisions. So, sitting on your butt for 8 hours a day, which I know many people do in this day and age because we're working behind computers, that's the exact opposite. So if you're doing that too much, maybe get up and walk around for 5 minutes in between meetings. Then you're going to be able to show up and have you'll be able to make better decisions in the meetings. So that's it for me, is I recognize that I get anxious about the most trivial decisions. So
I think it's like, I mean, you're right. It's really comes in. Get into the feeling world, get into how you're feeling, and then watch how those feelings are creating action. And if you're not in alignment of like how you want to show up in the world, like whether you want to be, a good husband or a good coworker or a good boss, right? And I'm sure you have, like aspirational identity, if you will, that you're always trying to achieve in those areas. And if you're not aligned with and moving in that direction to whatever it is, to be kinder, be more patient, to be more tolerant, whatever it is, then you're probably in decision fatigue. Like, and it's like, and this is an opportunity when you recognize that. And that's why these practices, like, so many different practices of mindfulness, but definitely like breathing, right, and meditation, the breath is going to help you to get, out of decision fatigue, out of all like, what if, or do I do that? Do I do this instead? And into the moment, right? It's going to help to relax your mind and your body. And then from there, you can really begin to open up. It's like, wait, what am I feeling? Am I feeling anxious? Am I procrastinating? Am I being impulsive in some ways? And if you are any one of those things, it's like you're probably in decision fatigue, because these are the symptoms of decision fatigue. So then what do you do about it? Right? It's just like, and that's when, I think it's like the best thing you could do is stay in your body in some way. Like that's when you go for a walk, like, I've been doing, when I just want to kind of wake up, whether for whatever reason, like I just start doing like 50 jumping jacks, right? And you get the body moving, get that chemistry working for you instead of against you. And that's just really, helps me tremendously. Or I take a cold shower or something like that, like really like kind of shock the system. Get a snack is good. I mean, snack, and then those, and the food's important too, because like what's part of the, like we're talking about the brain here, decision fatigue, like is a big, where it really all starts. Our body, our brain, which is, it's only 10 pounds of our body weight, 8 to 10 pounds, depending on the size of the human being, but it consumes as much as 25% of all of our energy. So that means all of our, and the brain really feeds on the glucose a lot, and other items too, but and other kind of ingredients. But if you don't have that, if you're not even properly bringing the proper nutrients into your body to really activate your mind in a good way, then you're just going to kind of fall back out into deeper in the decision fatigue. Yeah.
I just think about, remember those old commercials, the Energizer Bunny commercials?
Yeah,
where
right.
it would be like like it would show an actual Energizer Bunny commercial. It would be like the bunny leaves the screen beating the drum. And then like 2 commercials later, it's a fake commercial and you don't realize it. And then suddenly the Energizer Bunny comes into the screen and he's like, still going.
Yeah, right.
Well, those Energizer batteries, that's like what our our pool of energy is. Like we start the day with this energizer battery, right? And as we wake up and make decisions, it starts to deplete. And if you're not watching the show, if you're listening, I'm kind of making the energy tank shrink. Well, then you have to replenish it, right? It might be through getting up and walking around. Maybe that adds a little bit of fuel to that tank, that battery. And then maybe grab a snack, a healthy snack. If you grab a crap snack, it might make you feel good initially, and then it's going to make you tank later.
Crash, yeah.
But yeah, eating a healthy snack, you got to replenish that tank. And there's actually a really interesting study. I'm going to screw this up, but just off the top of my mind, I'm going to try to get it right. I think they did a study on judges.
Oh,
and
yes, I know
what it was.
study.
Yeah, yeah. And what kind of decisions they made on the cases that they viewed. And normally if they looked at the judges and the decisions that they made on the first cases of the day, it was normally they put a lot of time and energy into it, and then they would decide one way. And then after a few hours, you would see that decision process change, and they would just be like, you know what, I'm just going to make a quick decision.
Yeah.
And I mean, those quick decisions would affect whether somebody's going to jail or not.
Yeah.
If somebody's going to prison or not.
Right.
But they didn't realize it. And then they would go and eat lunch and maybe take a break, and then the decision process would improve. And so now they're actually taking time, putting some thought into these decisions. And then by the end of the day, a case would come in and they're like, guilty, boom, and not even really put that much thought into it, which is scary. But that's not just them, that's everyone, right? That's everyone. If we're not recharging that energizer battery, then how is it going to go and keep on going, doom, 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 right? It doesn't just keep on going. You have to charge it up.
Yeah, what's going to keep you in decision fatigue is poor sleep. Like, you got to get your fucking sleep. And skipping meals, our body needs nutrients, but what nutrient, we're going to talk in a moment here about what nutrients we should be putting in our body.
And those are tied together, right?
Of course.
Quite often you get poor sleep, and then your decisions are worse.
So decisions.
Then you're like, well, I'm going to eat a pizza and a candy bar.
Yeah.
Give
me
then
sugar.
Because now because you've ate crap, you've eaten crap, then you're going to sleep poor. And it just compounds. So at some point, you have to interject and be like, you know what? I'm going to do something hard here. I'm going to make a tough decision, and I'm going to sleep through the night. I'm going to work to get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Now, because I'm rested, I can make a better decision on what I'm going to eat for breakfast. And it makes you start to think more rationally and react less emotionally. Right.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And again, we talked about setting boundaries and goals, and these are all things that are going to get in the way of just endless workflow, overload, like so many texts, so many emails, so many different meetings. Like, what can you take off your plate in order to make this, actually, so you feel more in control, of your time, of your energy, and where your life is going, instead of everybody being in control of your time. Like, it's a huge difference. It's really big. Yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out to my coach, Justin. So Justin is I am an executive coach. I do executive coaching, but I also believe that you should if you're able to get some executive coaching, and Justin's phenomenal. Like, I got into our call last week, and I was like, okay, well, what goals am I going to set? What should I talk to him about as far as a new goal? And he's like, you know what? For this week, I want your goal to be not having any goals. And my mind exploded. And he's like, I want you to go look at your calendar, do a calendar audit, and see what things are actually benefiting you and what ones are not benefiting anyone. Like, sometimes I do things that are going to benefit me and me alone, and sometimes I do things that are going to benefit me and the person on the receiving end. Sometimes I do it just because it's going to benefit the person on the other end. But sometimes that gives me energy too. But sometimes, man, there are some calls or Zoom meetings that don't benefit anybody. We come out of it, I'm like, what was that for? That was a complete waste of time. So anyway, this is a really long story. I went into my calendar and I audited, and I canceled like 12 things. And I was like, I could fill those periods on my calendar. And the reason I'm looking off to the side is I'm literally looking at my calendar on my screen right now. I could fill those. But why? Let me just leave them blank. Let me just take that time for myself. Let me go and get a snack during that time. Let me go and walk the dogs for 10, 15 minutes during that time and recharge my battery. You have to be intentional about not only setting those boundaries, but then truly observing and practicing those boundaries. It's really easy to be like, yeah, I'm going to have boundaries, but then actually sticking to them, that's the next level. And if you're not sticking to those boundaries 100%, man, saying yes too often, having that packed calendar, I know yesterday I had a packed calendar. And then I texted you, Will, and I was like, crap, the business finances, I accidentally deleted the software that it's on, and I started like getting into this stress spiral. And then my kids came home, and now because I'm stressed out,
Shut up.
and
I'm sorry.
I'm trying, yeah, well, I mean, not exactly, but
right,
I'm
I know,
like,
that's what I mean.
hey, I'm like getting upset with them about the
Right.
stupidest things.
Exactly.
And that was because I'm trying to make decisions about, okay, well, what's the next piece of software we're going to use so that we can manage our finances, Well, how am I going to do this? And I'm like, crap. This decision fatigue, though I didn't name it that in my thoughts, but it was that. It was hurting my family. It was hurting my family.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it shows up, it's pervasive, it'll show up everywhere once you're in that state. And, I mean, good on you again, here's the values of setting boundaries. Just so important. And also I think what's going to help eliminate this decision fatigue is saying no. And what creates decision fatigue is overloading and saying yes to so many different things and just spreading yourself thin. And it's like, and is that really about you, or is it about somebody else? Is it about you trying to keep up your like social score and that kind of stuff, or your validation, instead of it being like, sorry I hurt this dude's feelings, but I can't make that. Like, that just doesn't work with my schedule right now.
And then I think, the other way to do it is I think you have to make decisions. Like, when you have energy and there's no decisions to be made, make some decisions.
You're gonna make fucking good decisions then.
Yeah,
you're well rested. You're like,
right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like on, let's say on Saturday night, you don't go and tie one on and then wake up like feeling like shit on Sunday. You get a good, let's say, hey, you go to bed at a normal hour on Saturday. Maybe you sleep another extra hour that morning, and now you feel well rested. Well, Sunday, sometimes there are not as many decisions to make as there are during the weekdays. Well, maybe then you're like, okay, well, I'm going to write down on a calendar what the meals are going to be for the week. I'm going to go and I'm going to make, oh my gosh, this has made things ridiculously better in this household. If we think about it, on Sunday, we'll go and make a stack of 5 outfits for one kid, another 5 outfits for another kid, and another 5 outfits for another kid. And I tell you, that is a game changer. It sounds so trivial, but on Monday, when I go in there, I'm like, okay, boom, you're wearing this, you're wearing that, and you're wearing that. And then boom, I don't have to think about it. And then on Tuesday, same thing. And I mean, so that's 3 decisions right there. Well, if you break it down to what shirt, what pair of like underwear, what bottoms,
difference.
like it adds up real quickly. But if all that's done on Sunday when I have energy,
Yeah.
that's when you can make decisions. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, when you have energy and there's no decisions to make, look at the week ahead and think about, okay, what decisions am I going to make that I can make right now?
That's
and
a
then
great
do it.
point.
Do it.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like, they have one way to kind of free yourself of this is like simplify routine, right? Like you said, whether it's meals, whether it's clothes, can you delegate too? Like, that's one thing. Like, you don't have to do it all. Delegate your time. Pay somebody to do to do your work. Like, I don't like to clean my house. I have a woman that cleans my house. You know what I mean? Like, I like to keep things tidy and neat.
Rosa? Is that
it? Nubia. Nubia is my person.
Man.
No,
Rosa's ours. What am I talking about?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, Rosa, man, she's great.
Yeah, and also another thing here that's going to help is prioritize big decisions in the morning when you have energy, and and your energy is highest. And leave low stake choices and emails after or a little bit later is a good way to do that.
Yeah, it's like that book. I don't know if you've ever read it, Will, Eat That Frog, right? It's
Oh yeah,
basically
exactly.
having
I don't know the
the
book. I know the
frog be,
saying. Yeah,
yeah, the frog is the big hairy thing that you have to do in your day, and you know it's coming.
yeah,
Eat it first thing in the morning, proverbially, clearly. But yeah, eat that frog, get it out of the way, make that big decision
yeah.
first off, and then the trivial ones later in the day.
Yeah, and one thing about when you do make that big decision first thing in the day, you do eat the frog. Like you're just like you have more confidence. You know what I mean? You kind of you took the big obstacle out of the way, and now it's like already it's in motion. However, it's moving, and you're like, oh, okay, what's next? What's next? What's next? And I imagine with
Feel
that early
lighter.
morning, right? Feel lighter, exactly. So you're gonna
Yeah.
have more confidence with other decisions you're gonna make. Um, how about like so? One thing I thought it'd be good. Is like food. I think food is
Yeah.
obviously it's like it's everything.
It's fuel.
It's our fuel, and and it really makes a big difference of what fuel you're putting in your body. And one of the biggest things you can do is like, what do you got to feed your body on a regular basis? Water. Stay hydrated is critical for mental clarity and preventing sluggishness. Um, take it even further here. It's like, leafy greens, right? They have like spinach, Swiss chard. I have on this list here, stuff that's packed with vitamin K, folates, antioxidants that literally boost cognition and brain resilience. Fatty fishes is great. One thing, or even like chia seeds is also in this category too, is are high in omega-3 fatty acids, which helps to up regulate our serotonin levels. So actually feel better about the things that we're doing and things we're making decisions on. Plus it helps us to support memory and learning, and also helps us to sustain attention, which is really important too.
Yeah. I mean, if you've never listened to it or never read the book, we had Dr. Uma Naidoo on. Uma Naidoo, Naidoo. I think I got that right. She wrote a book called "This Is Your Brain on Food." Right? You remember that old slogan back in the days during the drug wars? Hey, this is your brain on drugs, and it showed an egg frying in a pan. Well, there it is. This is your brain on food. And it talked about that very thing. Like when you eat what she calls the standard American diet, SAD, the SAD, if you eat the standard American diet, you're going to feel like crap. Hey, it's burgers, fries, a lot of starch, a lot of fat, a lot of sugar. And there's times when, hey, you go to a party, that's what you eat. But if that's what you're eating on the reg, like regularly eating that, then you're going to feel like crap. And not only you're going to feel like crap, your brain is literally not going to be able to make decisions as quick, as effectively, and probably making the wrong decisions. So it was, some of the other things that you talked about, chia seeds with the omega-3 fatty acids, but like berries for the antioxidants.
Yeah.
That can
Flavonoids.
help with,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly, right. Nuts and seeds that's got more of the healthy fat, the magnesium, vitamin E, eggs, choline, right, that a key nutrient for memory and motivation. So there's a ton of things that you can eat that are going to help to, again, refill that tank, refill that battery, recharge that battery. We have to think about what we're going to have to think about. Does that make sense? We have to think about what we're going to have to think about. And in order to think about what we're going to have to think about clearly, we have to eat well, sleep well, exercise. We have to take care of our bodies and minds.
Yeah, and also avoid sugary snacks, soda, processed food. These give that spike, like they're very high on the glycemic level, right? And you get a big spike, and then you get a big crash, and you're all like moody all the time. And it's tough to make good decisions when you're like spiking and crashing on a regular basis. Fried and fatty processed foods. This all leads to inflammation and tiredness and blocking sharp thinking. Even like I'd say. I think we should actually do a show on seed oils one of these days, John. I think it might be a good thing. There's a lot of conversation about that, and a lot of seed oils like create inflammation in the body, and inflammation just affects your brain.
Inflammation of the brain. Like we had, Dr. Mark Gordon on to talk about how your brain can get inflamed with different things.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a whole bunch of vitamins and supplements off to the side here that he's recommended, and it definitely helps. But there's that Snickers commercial where somebody is really hungry and they end up being like this other person. It's like on the football field, there's like, it shows the football players, and then the quarterback it's like an old lady making bad calls, and one of the other players is like, you need something to eat, and they hand him a Snicker, and he eats the Snickers, and then he turns back into a football player making the right calls. I'm like, that is terrible. Don't eat a Snicker bar when you're feeling like crap. When you're feeling like crap, go and grab something healthy, right?
Just get
like
the fucking peanuts. Like,
yeah,
eat the peanuts. Get the yogurt.
Avocado, man. Avocado
exactly.
with some salt
Super
and
delicious.
like a glass of water. That's going to be much more helpful than the sugary Snicker bar.
I think it's one thing. It's like single ingredients food is one thing that I'm always doing. Just for my overall health, single ingredients food. So a piece of chicken, green beans, avocado, maybe a mixed salad in some ways, but not like, Doritos aren't going to help you. Like, I mean, even these,
that's one of my weaknesses. I have to admit. I make poor decisions when I go to the freaking pantry.
Yeah, right. Well, you've made too many decisions in a day, John. Maybe that's part of it. But I think this is decision fatigue, guys. So you either work with your biology, work with the brain as it is. We give you lots of different tips here, and maybe like you're thinking like, oh my God, there's so much information. Just start with one. And stay in your body, stay hydrated, get your sleep. Eat well, set those boundaries, have goals, be intentional. I mean, and I think it really got up a great point here, John, is fucking get a coach. Or have a friend, get in some sort of mastermind, right? So you can really begin to, sort through some of these decisions and create clarity by just bringing them up into a space that is safe for you to just sort through your thinking. Like, that's another great thing too. It's just like have another person around.
You got to make a decision to change your life so that you can make better decisions.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Make a decision to make a decision.
To make good decisions. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, really what it boils down to, get some rest, recharge your battery, make decisions when you have energy. And if you have energy, when you don't need to make some decisions, think forward, what decisions am I going to need to make this week?
Point. Preemptive.
Preemptive. Sleep discipline, eating right, exercising, taking micro breaks, maybe take a nap, take some of that non-sleep deep relaxation that Andrew Huberman talks about. You've got to recharge the battery. That's what it boils down to. Recharge the battery so that you can make positive decisions faster, more effectively, more efficiently. So, man, what else?
That's it, man. I think
that's it.
We
I think
we
that's
did
a good way to.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, hey, thanks, Will. Great episode. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Great to see you. Great to. I know you're out there listening. We appreciate the support. If you got something out of this episode, please share it with your friends, your family, anyone else you think could get something from this. Anything to wrap it up, Will?
No, leave it a review. Get on our mailing list. And just say, hey, and a big thank you to everybody. My God, we are going over 5 years now that we've been doing this, and it's really been an honor. We're really growing. Like, our guest list just keeps getting better and better. I connect with different students and stuff like, what the fuck, dude? Home runs, man, you guys are hitting this season, and it's just going to keep getting better. And it's all because like we're here to help you guys understand things that are meaningful to us and things that can really help and enhance your life. And so
I'll wrap it up with that is sharing, but also, hey, if there's somebody out there that you think we should have on the show, and they are really going to bring value to you and the rest of the community, the audience, connect us with them. Yeah, we'd love to bring on some more really home run hitters. So thanks, everyone. I think that's it. That's a wrap. Until next time, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Peace.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you walk away with some new tools and insights to guide you on your life journey. New episodes are being published every week, so please join us again for some meaningful discussion. For more information, please check out mentalkingmindfulness.com.